Last time on Date Chats, Daisy and Yannette talked about their favorite dating apps. We got some do's and don'ts and a hot, spicy bowl of hot takes. What else will we learn today? Find out now.
But,
I don't know. Technology is just getting better and better at following you in your every step. It's just kind of creepy.
It's kind of scary. But it's also a good way to find out how far away someone is from you. I've done some questionable things in the past because of that knowledge that technology gives us.
As a veteran of the dating apps as well, I have done my little tricks. I feel like when I was on dating apps, I at the point where I did want a relationship, I was very careful with who I was like making my settings on. I was like, well, I don't want someone younger than me because...
So what were your qualifications? Like, what's your profile? What did it look like of who you were looking for and what your profile looked like?
So I had a lot of pictures of my face.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot, like, I know a lot of people mix it up, like, oh yeah, you have pictures with your friends and stuff like that, but I had a lot of pictures of my face and me at dinner. This is what I like to do.
Oh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
I had my range of, like, obviously older than me. And this is just my preference. If you're not okay with my preferences, and, like, I don't care. This is what I wanted.
You're like, fuck off.
I wanted them to be college educated, obviously, and then I wanted them to be, like, I really wanted someone to be, like, kind of not the same as my religion, because I don't have a religion, but, like, not the same, but, like, kind of just not care about it, you know?
Yeah.
And then what else was I looking for? Obviously, if I was, like, physically, it was like, yes, I'll go on a date with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my recent profile looked like. And when I was looking for relationships and I was dating and I was telling them what I wanted, I would always get, like, I didn't know it was super hard. Like, I didn't know it was harder than I thought. Because, like, I would date someone for, like, a month or two, and then out of nowhere, they'll be like, sorry, I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I was like, okay, dude. And then I kept going on this, like, constant cycle of dating someone for, like 1 or 2 months, and then, like, going again and again, going on bad dates, and then going on these cycles. And I was like, are men really this immature? Like, what's going on? Like, I had men taking me out to dinner in full-on suits.
Mm-hmm.
And
still treating you like trash.
Yeah, and, like, giving me expensive gifts and, like, telling me that they wanted to be with me, and then out of nowhere, they'd be like, sorry, or they'd be, like, dating someone else completely at the same time. So, I mean, I don't have to deal with those issues anymore. I'm in a relationship, and I'm very happy, but it's just, like, you bring in that trauma with you as well when you go on these dating apps.
Yeah, which that brings up a good point. When you go on the dating apps, you have to understand and be conscious of the fact that you are not the only person that they're dating.
Yeah.
If you want to be exclusive, you need to have that conversation. And some people, I guess, can go with just assuming that they're exclusive and it's reciprocated. And I'm so happy for you if that happened to you. But to avoid having feelings hurt, in my personal opinion, I think it's just best to be always really intentional and be really clear with what you want, what you're expecting, and how you're feeling at every point.
I feel like that's very difficult too, because, like, when I was in these situations, I'll be like, okay, so when is the right timing to, like, say? Is it, like, after the third date? Is it, like, after a month? Is it after like a week? And I would be very adamant about, like, having that conversation, because then I would hear them say, like, oh yeah, I really like you, but then the other day I'd be like, yeah, we're just having fun, and I'm just like, dude, I can't ask you now. Like, it's just really weird.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's why it's important to know. I don't know if, like, the girlies would agree with this, but I like to ask right away, like, what are you looking for on Tinder? Yeah. And usually how they respond is telling of what they want. If they tell you, and I used to do this all the time, I'm just going with the flow. They don't want anything serious. They're maybe open to it and it could happen, but don't hold your breath on that. If they say anything to the effect, I'm just going with the flow, and you want something serious, move on to the next one. Just be like, that's great. Yeah. I'm looking to find more of a long-term relationship. I hope you find, what you're looking for, and just move on to the next one. Don't even waste your time.
And I feel like a man will never leave wiggle room to make you doubt that he doesn't want you.
Yeah, no. Like, if a man truly wants you, he will not make you question. If you're wondering, like, I don't know, like, what if I'm not the only one that he's talking to, or
he is talking to other people,
or, you know, we talk every day, but sometimes, like, he doesn't text me back for hours, and, you know, it's not consistent. Yeah. Then it's not even worth it, because a man who knows how to communicate is going to tell you, hey, today's a busy day, can't talk all day, hope you have a good one, we'll touch base later. Something like that. A man who cares about you and wants to be with you is going to make the smallest effort to talk to you. I'm not saying you guys have to talk every single day, Yenette. I know you were like that in your dating, and to me, I never understood it. Always respected it, but I never understood it because it's not my dating style.
Yeah.
But like Yenette, for example, like she would always say, dude, I'm busy. Do not text me every day. Do not text like yeah, no. And I'm not like that. Like we don't need to talk all day, but if I'm into someone and I'm dating someone, I want to touch base with them every day. Like a phone call or a text here and there, just to know that like we're good. And again, I have more of an anxious attachment style that I'm working on, so a lot of that plays into that. But that's just me personally, you know? So it depends. Like, take what we're saying with a grain of salt, but just know. And I guess this applies for anyone else too. If someone truly wants to be with you, they're not going to make you question. And if you're questioning where you stand, just move on. Or just move on, which is my personal advice. Just cut them off, move on to something else. But if you really want that closure, which you're never going to get and you're never going to like anyway, but I guess you could always just say like, hey, what are you looking for? Where do we stand? Where is this going?
And if he's like, we're just having fun, like, no. And that is totally okay. You're not for everyone. That's something that you should probably think about. And if a guy really likes you, like, you will know.
Yeah.
I have experience with guys that are like really into me, but I never reciprocated the same.
Yes. Same.
And as much as I've gotten my heart broken, I've broken hearts as well. Mm-hmm. in my past. Like one time I had a guy that I was dating for like a couple weeks, and then I told him I ended things. But then like he asked me to go back with him to his car, and he had a bouquet of roses and chocolates, and he was like, I was gonna ask you to be my girlfriend, but I already know the answer because I obviously ended things.
Yeah.
But I feel like that person never like let me doubt that he was not interested in me.
Exactly.
As well as my current partner, I feel like he told me like at the second date, he was like, I like you and I don't care. Like he was like, like my career is really important. I know your career is really important, but I like you and I'm just letting you know that I'm interested. Like I want to continue or see where this goes.
Yeah.
So there will never be any wiggle room or like any doubts that you will have if someone likes you.
Yeah. And you know, if you're not looking for a relationship, then just keep this in the back of your head. Well, like I tell my kinder students, just pick it up and put it in the back of your head. So it's there, but it's just, you don't need it right now because it doesn't matter, because you're looking for fun. You're looking just to go on dates, whatever, what have you. But if you are open to a relationship or you're hoping that's what this becomes, and just keep that in mind, that someone who really likes you is never going to make you question where you stand. And we keep saying that over and over and over again, but it's so true. And I've seen it from men that, you know, I've dated in the past, a guy that ghosted me, which hurt my ego so much because he was so freaking hot, in my opinion, at the time. I stalked his profile the other day on Facebook, and he's been in a relationship for like a while now. And you could tell that he's been in a relationship in a while now.
I've been ghosted many times as well, but I will say there was one time where there was the exception. I was dating this med student, and he was like super busy. So we would only see each other like once every 2 weeks or something. But he just ghosted me out of nowhere. Like one day he texted me Happy Valentine's Day, and the other day like it was completely ghost. And I was like, okay. And then like a year later, he texts me again, and I'm like, wow. And he's like, yeah, I know it's been a long time, but I need to tell you something. And I was like, what? He was like, oh, I had leukemia, and I didn't want you to be a part of that struggle. And I was like, Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I mean, going through cancer is probably horrible. And even though he thought he was protecting me, he said that he felt like he should have told me instead of like having me doubt.
And did he, because not to like air out your dirty laundry a little bit, but just a little bit, it wasn't the first time that he had ghosted you.
Oh.
And that he would like string you or like string you along.
Yeah.
And he would always blame it on school. And I always told you, like, no one is ever that busy. If he is that busy, he has no business to be dating. Because why is he entertaining other women? For what? He's too busy, apparently, you know? You were in school at the time, and you worked full-time at the time or work part-time and kept a social. Like, you were also busy, and you still were making time for him. And that's another point to consider, is that no person who truly wants to date you is ever too busy to talk to you or to make time for you, because they will make the time. Doesn't matter if they got to drive to see you once a week because you guys are long distance. Doesn't matter. Someone who wants to be with you will make the drive, will make the commitment, will make the time to go see you and to like be with you and talk to you. Totally sad that he had cancer, but my opinion on him still stands that he is trash because he led you on, even maybe probably before he knew about his cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, and then he still tried to like ask me to like see him again. I was like, no, I don't think so. This is like very bad timing. Like, this is not happening.
Yeah, you deserve something better.
Yeah.
And my advice, I always tell Yannette and all my friends this, is just block them. Like, you don't, like, at first I used to do it as a joke when I was like in my early 20s, and I've changed a lot from my early 20s to my mid 20s, but I am a firm believer of just blocking people because, I'm not saying you should ghost them. Talk to them. Like, there was this guy that I was dating. He sent me flowers to my work, was so sweet, like everything I wanted on paper, but he just wasn't it. And I told him, I was like, hey, you're super cool, but I'm just not feeling it. I did the it's not you, it's me thing. And then he kept insisting for me to go out with him. So I ended up blocking him because I cut it off. I told you why. I gave you closure and you're still persisting. No, thank you. You're now invading on my peace, my serenity. Blocked. And people that I
feel like you bring up a good nice guy trope of like, just because a guy's nice to you,
exactly,
doesn't owe him anything. You don't owe them a relationship.
You don't owe
them sex. You don't owe them anything.
I think it's
not hard. Okay, let me just go on a little rant here.
Yes, you rant away.
It's not hard to be nice.
No.
Being nice is literally the most minimal things a human being can do. And as a man, there is so much more to do than being nice.
Yes.
I'll go there.
Agreed. Agreed. So, don't fall for the nice. And honestly, the nice guy, the guy who says he's a nice guy, is not a nice guy. In fact, there was a guy I matched with last night, and I haven't unmatched him just so we can talk about this today because I knew that we would be on here. We matched, right? And then second message in. So he sent me a message. I sent one back. He said, called me baby girl. For me, red flag. For me, if you call me baby girl, if you call me baby
girl,
like red flag. So, he sent me a normal message. I sent him one back. And then the question was like, I said, oh, that's nice. What did you guys get for dinner? He told me he went out to dinner with his mom. He told me what he got for dinner with his mom. And then he texted me. So that was at 9:27 p.m. At 9:32 p.m., because I still hadn't responded by that time. I was awake, but I just didn't respond. He said, your hair looks so pretty, babe. I want to touch it. And on his bio, he said he's a really nice guy looking for a really nice GF. And I was like, okay. When I put those two together, I was like, absolutely not going to happen. Didn't respond. Haven't texted back since then.
Blocked.
Literally blocked. Like, going to unmatch after this episode. Just because like I know I'm not interested. It's just not having it. And you'll come across with people like that. Guys who say that they're the nice guys are usually only fake nice. They're only nice to get you to want to be with them. The minute that you say no, or the minute that you don't give in to what they want, they're going to call you the bitch. They're going to treat you like trash. They're not going to be nice. Because a real nice guy is he's not going to say it. He's just going to be nice.
Yeah, and you'll know And they won't just tell you, they'll show you that they're...
Actions speak louder. Ladies, I don't care how far away you guys live from each other. A man will send you flowers if he actually wants to date you, if he actually wants to be around you. He's going to do things that make you feel good, whether that's buying you flowers, whether that's sending you $5 for coffee in the morning, or Ubering eats you some food. You know, they're going to do these things for you. So do not settle for less. Do not settle for them opening your door or paying for dinner. That is the bare minimum. Okay, a chivalrous man is going to do these things because he wants to. And if you subscribe to the whole 50-50, all power to you. Not my cup of tea.
You still do that.
I used to do that. Not anymore. I'm very much, I want a provider. If you can't provide for me, then you aren't at it. And the reason I'm like that, it's because there's nothing a man can give me that I cannot give myself. And so if this man is not adding to my life, then he's taking away. So if you want to come into my life, you got to be able to match me. You know, you got to be able to provide for me, and you got to be able to match me at my level. And I'll say that for all kinds of things, all kinds of levels. Financially, you know, I wouldn't say educationally. I don't mind if a man doesn't have a degree, but I do want a man that's ambitious. And if you're working a blue collar job, which, like I said, I love a man in a uniform. I don't care what kind of uniform. You better be the best. You better be the most hardworking and making that money to be a provider, because I do want to get married one day, not now. And I don't want kids right now. I'm still thinking like 10 years out for kids, but one day you pick who you want who your kid's father to be. I'm not going to pick a guy who's really trash.
That's like probably the main thing when it comes to like dating and having kids. Because if you want to do that, you also have to think about like, okay, whose kids am I having?
Exactly.
And that's probably the biggest choice in your life is going to be your partner, because you're going to be making other humans with that person. And you're going to have to be living in a house, in walls with that person. So you really have to take into account their mannerisms, how they are as a person, their flaws. Do you really see a future with this person? And I feel like you kind of can't know that through a profile on a dating app. You actually have to put yourself out there and go on these dates with these guys. And yes, like Daisy and I's experience, like you're going to have really low lows.
Yes.
But fortunately for me, I did find a partner, and I'm very happy. And it's everything I've ever wanted and more, to be honest.
Like I said, I found some great guys that I've dated in the past, and literally just today I matched with this guy. I think he's attractive. Like, I don't think he's ugly. I wouldn't say I'm super attracted to him. So I matched with him because he had on his bio something about like, I have the tongue that your mother warned you about, or something like that, which could, you know, he meant it probably to look one way, but I thought about it another way. Wink, wink. And so, you know, since I was already like, oh, cool, I already met with the Viking man. Like, I'm talking to him. So this guy is just going to be literally just to get some deeds done. You know?
I love that. I need the tea.
I matched with him. Well, here's the tea. I matched with him today, and he was like, marry me, and like all these emojis. And so I jokingly said, because I'm not taking this guy serious, I was like, buy me a ring and propose. And we're like having this like funny banter back and forth. And I'm thinking he's going to get like sexual. And he did for one message. All he said was to call him daddy or something like that. So, you know, that's all he said. And I thought he was going to keep it going because I put an emoji on there that, you know, would keep it going. And he didn't. He just asked me like how my day is going, asked for my number. So we're texting and we're having like real conversations. He did call me babe, which I didn't, like I said, a red flag.
You don't like babe? You're like baby?
It's day. We've been talking for like 20 minutes. It's too soon. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. I also met, if you guys remember the episode, The Queen is Free, I met that guy on Tinder. And that was a shit show itself. Anyway, go listen to that podcast if you want to know that tea. Love Tinder. I'm like a sponsor for Tinder at this point. So match with him, and like we're having like some really good conversations. Like obviously I haven't texted him back because you and I like take priority. But we've been having pretty good conversations, and I didn't expect that, like, because like I said, I matched with him solely for the purpose of me telling him I only want one thing, and I still only want one thing, but I'm entertaining that idea of like where this is going. Like I don't look at him and think, oh my gosh, boyfriend material, you know, it's just fun for now.
Yeah, I used to have those
Like
moments.
it's fun.
Like, yes, this person is good. Like
to talk to, like to have that banter.
But then you have those people who are just like, oh, whatever, I'll go on a date. And instantly they're like, wow, this person's amazing.
Right. And I think it's because you go into it without like, oh, I'm actually like really, at least for me, I'm like not, like I said, I think this guy's cute. I don't think he's ugly, but I also don't think he's like super attractive. You know, like some pictures he looks like he'd be cute, and other pictures I'm like, ugh, like not really, you know? So, I mean, I'm really enjoying the conversation so far. And I will say that being on dating apps, especially now that I'm older, I've learned to have conversations with men and how to like what to expect. So there are conversations that I find acceptable for men, and there are conversations that I don't. If you don't put in any effort into conversations, I'm not going to talk to you. It's not going to be like me pulling teeth. If you don't spell correctly, if you have too many spelling errors, I'm not going to talk to you. Like, what is this? I'm not saying the occasional mistakes. Who cares? We all, especially when you're typing really fast, who cares? But if you say was good, WUZGUD, no.
Or if you use the monkey emoji.
If you use the monkey emoji, oh my gosh. Any of the emojis of you, actually any monkey emoji, because there's another emoji of just a regular smiley face that's smiling with like the hand cover. Love that one. Use that between the girlies, you know, like love that emoji. I really like the salute emoji too. Love that one. Yeah, but certain emojis that some men that I date use will get you on the blocked list, unfortunately. But you know what? We can save that conversation about what we deem acceptable for another conversation, because then we would be talking on for hours and hours.
I feel like we can just talk about this forever, honestly. This is
I know.
We talk about at brunch. It's the tea and the dating apps.
Yes.
And work and everything else.
I know. That's literally what we talk about when we go to brunch. It's just catching up on life. And like the cool thing about, I think, our friendship is that we can literally go from like talking about like, dude, like this is the D that I got last night, and this is how big it was, and this is how it felt, to I'm like going through therapy, and I'm in the trenches right now. Like this is what I'm going through.
Talking about social issues and capitalism and like everything else.
It goes like from one spectrum to the other. And I think that's just like, that's what I've learned to appreciate. And tying it back to dating, when you're on dating apps, you learn to have these conversations. And that's how I've learned that you can have these kinds of conversations. You can talk about sexual experiences. You can talk about political things. You can talk about social causes without it getting inappropriate. You can talk about sexual things without it getting inappropriate. You can talk about political things without getting disrespectful. And I had that experience with someone that I matched with on Bumble, which I feel like he's kind of like the one that got away. He was so hot. He was so hot. And I told him immediately that I wasn't interested, because he was a Trump supporter when he told me. And he was the only person that ever asked me. I think I told you guys about him. He was the only guy that asked me for feedback. Why are you cutting it off with me, if you don't mind me asking? And I told him, and I listed every point, because he had given me like a paragraph, and I responded because he was so like kind about it. I was like, sure, I'll give you feedback. And so he also responded to every point that I made, and I realized that I was wrong. I judged him. Yes, we had different political opinions, and if I really think about it, no, he's not the one that got away, because if he was the one, he wouldn't have gotten away, you know? Especially because we did end up rematching again and like later on. So clearly it just wasn't meant to be. But I
feel like for me is if you wouldn't introduce them to your friends or your family, that's with me. I wouldn't continue to date them. But
yeah.
I did do that. I did date somebody who was of the other spectrum that I was, even religiously, so.
Yeah. I feel like I would have, but I think I would be afraid of introducing him to my friends. I think you can have respectful conversations.
Yeah.
Our other friend, I do think she will have respectful conversations, but I don't think she would hold back.
I would love to see that conversation.
I don't think she would hold back. And I do value her opinion. Yeah. Same with my other friend. She cannot have conversations with Trump supporters. I don't know what it's like now. We haven't touched that, but that I know of, she cannot have conversations. It doesn't go well. And I value her opinion. So, you know, it's a hit or miss, but you do learn to have those conversations. And I think when it comes down to it, if you have been on the fence of going on dating apps, I think your 20s or your single years are the best times to do it. And while I'm not saying you should do it to find love, definitely do it to just explore what kind of person you want to be, what kind of person you want to be with, and just explore the different men that there are out there. Because like I said, there's a variety of them. And if one doesn't work, just move on to the next one.
Yeah, I would say that. I'm not complaining about my single life. I loved it. I loved being single. I loved every single time of it. I felt very free and independent, and I wanted that life. And I think everyone should experience that and be able to go on dates and date these many people. And like you said, meet these different men and personalities, because you don't know what's out there until you find out.
Yeah, and you're going to have your fair share of shitty dates, as long as you know that you need to, okay, for real, here are some tips, okay? Always tell someone where you're at. Share your location. Tell them exactly where you're going to be. I have had my fair share of times where my friends didn't have my location or my service wasn't working and they're freaking out, literally borderline calling the cops and calling my parents when I was younger, like in my early 20s. Always make sure they know where you're at. Send your friends, your cousin, your mom, your sister, anyone, a picture of what you're wearing. Just in case you go missing, they have like your most recent outfit and what you look like and a description. Like I said, send a picture of your date. But yeah, make sure your person knows how tall they are, any descriptions, if they have tattoos, they have a picture of that person, a clear picture of what they look like, where they're from, and where you guys are going. If you know what kind of car he has, like, you know, any kind of information. That way, if anything ever goes wrong, you have all the information that you can. And that's just me giving you some tips. I listen to too much true crime out here to not give you these tips. But you want to stay safe because it is really dangerous out there for a woman. Always meet in a public space. Never let a guy pick you up from your home. I really enjoy meeting guys at a bar because there's a bunch of people. And if it goes wrong, he goes his way, you go your way, and you go meet another guy. those are my tips. And that's on being single. But before we wrap up this really long episode, is there anything else that you wanted to add, just in general with your experience on dating apps, or any tips for anyone that is thinking about it?
Well, I feel like just keep a lighthearted approach to dating apps. And if you need to take a break and you need to stop using them, it's totally okay. And if you feel like you want to go back to them, and if you feel like you're going back and forth, like, it's totally fine. I've done that many times. There's times where I was just so busy with grad school that I couldn't date anybody or talk to anybody. And then your feelings are your feelings and they're valid. You don't have to explain that to anybody, and you also don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
And you don't also be careful to communicate with whoever you're dating.
Yes. Also, girlies, last tip. If you are 25 and older, 24 older, Snapchat is not a form of communication. Snapchat, I repeat, is not a form of communication. If a man asks you for your Snapchat, he's not the one. If he asks for your Instagram instead of your number, he's not the one. If you guys happen to be in the same location and he knows and he doesn't ask you to like say hi, he's not the one. Just letting you know. But most importantly, Snapchat is not a form of communication. Get a fake number if you're scared of giving out your number. But Snapchat is not a form of communication.
I would always say, like, no, I don't have Snapchat.
Yeah, I say that. I just say I don't have Snapchat. I literally say to men that are older than me, I'm 25, I don't use Snapchat. Like, no. If you want to talk to me, ask for my number. And if I don't like you, I'll block you. Simple as that. But anyway, Yannette, thank you so much for being on today's podcast. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of us talking about some stories of some dating app stories that went well, some that didn't. And until next time, embrace the day.